and welcome to the Hold the Pod podcast, a podcast all about knowledge from every corner in the world of racing. My name is Misha.
And my name is Fatima, and this is the Hold the Path podcast.
And we have a truly special guest today. He is an icon of Canadian motorsports who has won the 24 Hours of Le Mans twice, as well as the American Le Mans Series. He has been inducted into the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame, the Chevrolet Hall of Fame, and the Trans Am Hall of Fame, and is a recipient of the Order of Canada. If you follow endurance racing, you know the name. Ron Fellows, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. How could we not? How have you been?
Good. Yeah, busier than a little busier than normal this time of year. But yeah, even despite the racetrack sale, just been. I was at the Rolex 24 with Chevrolet. They were doing a 25th anniversary of our overall win from 2001, which was cool. It was nice to see my car. And Chevrolet still owns that one, and also our teammates. It was kind of a unique deal. We had our teammates were in the second car. Andy Pilgrim and Kelly Collins were the regular drivers, and they had Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Senior in the car as well. So that was very, very memorable win, and we managed to get a win and overall with a Corvette GT. Essentially what was the GT1 class. Mm-hmm. So that and doing some work with the school, with the Corvette school in Nevada, which I would rather be there right now because of the temperature, and I'm in Toronto and just got back from Montreal.
Take us with you next time you go.
Yeah, take us with you next time.
Leaving Sunday.
Oh my God. Are you actually?
Yes.
Oh, you're a very, very busy man.
Well, we've got it's nice that I do have a bit more time to get down to the Corvette school, and it's certainly with the 8th generation Corvette, it's grown exponentially. The C8, the 8th generation Corvette has been extremely popular, and we're seeing about 50% of our students, Corvette owners that come to the school are first-time Corvette owners. So the mid-engine, the mid-engine car has captured a whole new customer base and audience, and so very cool. Yeah,
that is.
So we're doing
amazing.
Probably north of 6,000 Corvette owners a year come through the school. So it's busy.
That's incredible.
I can imagine.
That is incredible. That's a lot of people.
So and let me take a half a step back. So when you buy a new Corvette, it comes with a 2-day school as part of the ownership experience. Yeah. So that happened in the 6th generation ZR1, and then every production model of the 7th generation, and the same with the 8th generation. So regardless of model, Stingray right through to ZR1X, you get 2-day school.
Well, that's good to know. I know what car I'm going to get next.
Right? I get a cool car and a driving experience.
See me on the road with that car.
the one I haven't driven yet, the ZR1X. Yes,
oh my God!
The other models, ZR1.
Is that that's the only one you haven't driven?
Yeah, I haven't driven it yet.
Nope. Ooh, yet.
So yes.
And any plans?
Always. Yeah, we're just starting the ZR1 school in the next few months. The ZR1Xs are just beginning to be built, I believe, and they'll be delivered. I think, have they started to deliver them in the U.S.? They may have, but it'll be a while before we get access to one. I did have last September, late September. I did have an opportunity to drive the ZR1 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It was really an opportunity to see how much faster is the ZR1 versus the Z06. We had set a production car track record there in May of 2023, and it was how much faster could we go with the ZR1? And it turns out it was about 4 seconds a lap faster.
Oh, wow.
which is, yeah. So
That's not
That's
insignificant.
no,
At all.
no, it's not. And yeah, about 25 miles an hour faster
Wow.
at the top of the straightaway. Yeah, we were pushing close to 180 miles an hour. I don't know what that is in kilometers. It was
My goodness.
anyway, but it was fast. Yeah, it was great fun even for an old man.
Oh, come on.
I mean, the thrill never goes away.
Exactly.
No, you're right. It doesn't.
It
No,
really
just
doesn't.
just not as brave as you once were. It takes a little bit more work to get up to it. Yeah,
But as long as you still get there, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
indeed.
Exactly. And while we're on the topic of you getting there, actually, Ron, I kind of want to jump into, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was doing my research about you, I heard that you went to your first Canadian Grand Prix when you were younger, and it was your uncle that took you there.
That's correct.
And
Yeah.
in that, you said that for an 11-year-old to have an ephany, that was it.
Yes,
Is that true?
that is true.
That's
That
amazing.
is true. Yes, it was in 1969. I'm gonna talk to you about decades you weren't around for, but that's okay.
We can
yeah, it was
pretend.
it was the Canadian Grand Prix 1969. So I was 11 years old, and my uncle and a buddy of his who they rallied together, took my brother Rob and I to the Canadian Grand Prix, and yeah, that was the first car race I'd been to. I'd seen a
wow.
little bit of IndyCar racing and a little bit of stock car racing on TV, but to actually be there, sit in the front straight grandstands, get there early in the morning and make sure we got a great seat, right where the current event center is. There used to be grandstands there, so it was really
Wow.
cool to get there, and the cars coming out for the morning warm up, and it was magic. Still getting goosebumps about it. That's crazy.
That's
But,
amazing.
yeah, no, that was the easier said than done. But it was then that I decided I need to get on the other side of the fence. So I've been chasing it ever since.
I mean, 11-year-old would be very proud of you. 11-year-old you would be very proud. You've
That's-
achieved a lot. And in that, would you say that when you had that epiphany, was there ever any doubt in your mind that you wouldn't actually achieve this goal? Or were you like, this is my dream and I'm going to make it?
Yep, there was plenty of doubt. It was, yeah, it's never easy. The difference with car racing compared to stick and ball sports, and let's pick hockey. It's a hot topic these days. So
And we're all Canadian.
yes, indeed. So the equipment, the sticks, the skates for car racing is way more expensive. Even back then, and it didn't have anywhere near the notoriety or the popularity that car racing has now. So when I was getting started, I started racing go-karts in the mid '70s and did a couple of years of that, and then so late '70s got car racing with a little bit of help from my uncle, and he had a sedan. It was actually a Nissan 510, better known as a Datsun 510 back then. So that's where I got my racing license. But my love was open wheel racing, and there were years where, I struggled, got myself in a terrible amount of debt, and I had to. I did multiple years, about 4 years in the early '80s, where I couldn't race. I just had so much debt. I just had to work to try to pay it off. And then that was a struggle. And then the turning point for me was in 1986 when General Motors and Imperial Tobacco got together and created a single make championship with showroom stock Camaros and Firebirds. And the cars were back then $20,000. You had to drive it to the track, and it paid $6,000 to win in 1986.
I mean,
oh yeah.
So you have to win like 5 races for it to be worth it.
Well, it cost probably $3,000 or so to do a race weekend, but it's unheard of levels of prize money. And you had, in Canada in the 80s, we had some incredible, Formula Atlantic sure has a ton of history in Canada, through the late 60s and through the 70s into the 80s. But the sort of the grassroots entry started with what was called the Players GM Challenge, Rothman's Porsche Series, and Exported from the 2000s. So you can kind of see the pattern there where tobacco was heavily involved supporting, and it was great venues. The Players GM Series got to race at the downtown Toronto. The IndyCar race there. They had an IndyCar race on the Tri-Oval called Saint Air, east of Montreal, and then the Saturday feature at the Canadian Grand Prix. So among other events, obviously racing at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Motorsport then, and we raced at Shannonville. Anyway, it was it did a number of things for me. One, I learned how to race. I also learned how to sell sponsorship because the series was very, very, very popular and had a great TV package. So if you were running at the front, you could, generally speaking, if you didn't have a sponsor, that's your fault because there were lots of opportunities. And, through that, by winning a championship there, one of the sponsors I had, McKinsey Financial Mutual Fund Company, and the president back then, Jim O'Donnell, helped me get into the U.S. And that's about as short a version as I can get you. But there were certainly lots of opportunities. And again, I loved open wheel racing, but Harvey Hudis, who was owner of then Motorsport for probably a couple of decades, he was like, Ron, you don't have open wheel racing is expensive. You've got to go. You need to go sports car racing. The manufacturers are there. If you're any good, they'll find you. And so I ended up doing getting an opportunity to do the Trans Am series that had Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, as well as Audi at one point. Had factory race teams there, and I ended up getting an opportunity with Jack Roush's team in a Ford. And anyway, that led to opportunities with Chevrolet in the mid '90s, and I've had a contract with Chevrolet ever since. So that was late '94. I moved to the Chevrolet team in the Trans Am Series, and then on the heels of the Trans Am Series, Chevrolet pulling out of the Trans Am Series, along came this desire and to take a Corvette to Le Mans. So that was a project that started in late '97, and we did our first race with the Corvette program and at the Rolex 24 at Daytona '99. First Le Mans was in 2000, and and then in between there, I managed to get the opportunities to do some road races in NASCAR where they paid really, really well.
That's what we like.
What
we like.
But, it's through certainly in the U.S. One of the longtime sponsors we've had that I actually got through Jack Roush, and because Jack he'd hooked me up, and I drove a Motocraft AER. AER was one of the sponsors, and they were a private company in Dallas, the Dallas area, engine remanufacturing company, automotive. And Jack said to me, the family is the McGraws, Bob and Helen, husband and wife. It's their business. If they like you, they might stick with you. And that was 1990. And here we are into the 2020s, and they're supporting our son Sam in the Canadian NASCAR series. So they they're great friends, but it's and I digress a little bit, but it's all about, it's always about the people, and they getting the opportunities to get good rides, get opportunities. You got to deliver, and then the sponsorship that I was able to find to initially get access. A lot of those companies have stuck with me, and it's been an awesome journey.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's like the most insane butterfly effect.
Yeah, 100%. I know we touched a little bit on your early career, but I was wondering if you have a core memory or a defining moment that really shifted you from just being passionate about watching cars to racing and becoming a professional driver.
Yeah. I think probably I recall, I got in 77 or 78, I got my racing license, but I remember testing a Formula 1600 car back then for the first time, open wheel, and being able to see the front wheels. And it was actually tested at Shannonville, and that was just absolutely magic to get in a single seater. And however, for a guy that's 6'2", the challenge besides the funding was I didn't fit very well, and that became a big problem. I mean, certainly nowadays the cars they can accommodate. George Russell is probably the tallest guy in Formula One, and he's probably pretty close to 6'2", and Esteban Ocon, he's also tall. I mean, they're all incredibly skinny and fit, but the cars are much more accommodating in today's day and age for taller drivers. But back in my time, the drivers sat quite a bit farther forward, and if you were much over 5'8", it was going to be a tight fit. So,
okay. So I'm right on the fence.
I'm 5'3", so I can do it. I am not tall at all.
Yeah, but 2 is the ideal.
Yeah. I'll take one for the team. Don't worry about it, guys.
Now it's whether it's closed wheel, open wheel, certainly the cars are much more accommodating for the various driver height, and you also have the smaller guys as well, shorter, but certainly they can accommodate the taller drivers now, which is awesome.
For sure.
You don't have to be, it's not limited to sort of jockey size.
I bet. Do you remember, I know you said it was incredible, but do you remember what doing your first lap in an open wheel was like?
Yeah, what was the feel?
Yeah.
Tell us about it. It was, again, just being able to, and we're talking about a car the Formula 1600 back in those days. I can't imagine they're a whole lot heavier now, but they were like 1,000. They weighed about 1,000 pounds. They only had maybe 150 horsepower. Fairly narrow tire, but still, just the response on the steering wheel. This old open wheel car that I tested was not a new one. It was actually a Lotus 69. Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
Okay. Yes, there were still more of them kicking around. So it was, so it was built. It was built in the 70s. But just the vision of being able to see and again, the acceleration, the response when you turn the wheel, a very light, nimble single seater, even though it didn't have any aerodynamic effects, it was still pretty precise. It was awesome. Yep.
That's incredible.
That's pretty surreal and pretty cool.
Yeah.
I feel like you've touched on like every aspect of motorsport there is. I know you haven't, but it feels like that.
Yeah, and there's obviously the footwork that's involved, but it's less of a factor now. But it was a manual transmission, a 4-speed back then, and you had to brake and heel and toe. You had to use the clutch, but anyway, it was a bunch of fun, and I ended up doing a little bit of Formula 2000 through at Richard Spenard's racing school. That's where I actually started to work. I was almost 10 years working in construction as a machine operator and digging trench and filling it back in.
Oh wow!
And then I ended up meeting Richard Spenard, and who's a tremendously talented driver. He was, look him up. He was Gilles Villeneuve's teammate from the Atlantic days.
Wow.
Yeah. Didn't get to do all the races because the deal for Richard was if Gilles crashed his car, Gilles got Richard's car. So
sorry, Richard. Sorry.
Yeah. But Richard is super talented, and he did Can-Am, Trans Am in the U.S. and then started a racing school at Shannonville, the Spenard David Racing School back in, I think he was 85. Yeah, so I went to a school that he ended up hiring me, so I worked there for a couple of years, and that was a great entry point to the business of car racing. So that was a big help, and then he hired me to do a little bit. I did a season with him in the Players GM series as well. So it was, I go back to just the same kind of opportunities that are strictly or uniquely Canadian just don't exist to the same degree, unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
which we gotta figure out how to fix that. And
for sure,
karting at the youth level is in pretty good shape nationally, particularly in Ontario and Quebec. But it's that pathway to the next levels of car racing. It's really, really expensive because if it's open wheel or closed wheel, it eventually means, regardless of whether you're racing a Formula 1600 here or maybe a Radical, it's going to require a move to the U.S. And that's the tough part, and that's where I think we've got a. There's a number of people that are helping individual drivers out. We've got the National Sporting Authority, I think, needs to work towards trying to create more of a unified effort to develop talent at all levels. Again, easy to say, difficult to do, but we're working on it. So
no. I completely agree with you on that. I mean, I guess speaking on the topic of you working with at the Spenard David Racing School, would you say that your experience there has inspired you maybe to create your program like the Ron Fellows Karting for younger drivers and the Ron Fellows Performance Driving School as well through that experience? Or was it just a combination of all the racing career you've had and just like wanting to share that experience with younger drivers?
Yeah, the karting was definitely trying to help out the very entry level and trying to make it less confusing for kids and parents. And so we got involved in karting. That goes back to 2002. So we've been helping karting for we're closing in on 25 years. So in varying forms, and a lot of that is trying to provide some level of funding, and also in the early days, one of our goals was to try to when I went to and I raced karts in the mid 70s, and to go back and see what was going on in the early 2000s. What we wanted to do was try. Okay, let's work with the sporting authority let's try to make the culture for karting closer to car racing. And really that's about the discipline, how the sessions run, how the racing is managed from an officiating standpoint, podiums, getting a little bit of publicity for them, and trying to get a little bit more corporate attention.
Mm-hmm.
In the early days, we had Sunoco who had helped me in the Players Gym series when Sunoco was here as a brand. Sunoco and the Toronto Star Wheel section. We had we're a big supporter of our karting for almost 10 years, and then Canadian Tire. So it's not easy, but the good news is that karting is still relatively affordable, and most people can afford to do it. The parents will find ways to help their kids into karting. But again, it's that next step. And a few years ago, we took a kid from what was then the Motormaster karting championship, and a kid by the name of Patrick Woods Toth. In 2023, I had watched him for a few years in our series and at the Canadian Championships, and he'd done a little bit of international racing. Anyway, we took him to the U.S. and got him into an F4 car in 2023. Yeah, and he did not disappoint. He ended up winning the championship in his first year in cars, in US F4, and then in the Formula Regional Championship the next year in 2024, he won that as well. Wow. And then he's been somewhat, those next levels just require another couple of zeros to access. So Patrick is one of many, but he is certainly an outstanding talent that we're continuing to try to get him opportunities to advance and hopefully become a champion at some sort of global racing series or something. We're all young, dreaming of Formula One, and then it's wherever else you can. What else
the
you can
motorsport
do?
world is vast.
You just want to. For me, I wanted to make a living racing cars, and I'm very, very fortunate to have a contract with General Motors on both sides of the border, predominantly paid by the U.S. to race, and that's lucky for me, but that is there's that bridge to get there is a tough one, and that's what we got to keep plugging away at. So.
Yeah. Crossing that bridge is really hard. And before we move on to the next question, can you just confirm Patrick's last name for me? I just want to, follow his career.
Yeah, Woods Toth. Yeah. So it's Woods - Toth. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Patrick's, super, super talented. We got him into cars, and we ended up, Scott Goodyear, who's a friend of mine, he runs that open wheel program for what was then Pirella Motorsports. So he was running the F4 in the Formula Regional Championship. Formula Regional is essentially Formula 3. They're Formula 3 cars. They're just not allowed to call them Formula 3 cars. But for a couple of years there, we had an opportunity where Scott had a relationship with the Radford Racing School, and they had F4 cars. So he was able to select a half a dozen karting champions and asked me if we wanted to bring a Canadian kid. We did, and that was Patrick, and he was outstanding. And that led to a test with Kiwi Motorsports. They're based in Texas. Yes, they're from New Zealand.
Not to say, yeah. Wait
Yeah.
a second.
And I went to the test with Patrick, and there were no expectations except at the end of the couple days that he drove. It was like the owners were, this kid's really, really good. Yeah, tell me something I don't know. So we ended up going to the first race and in New Orleans in March of 23, and didn't know if we were going to get beyond the first race. And anyway, there was, I don't know, 30 plus cars, 32 cars, I think, in the field. And, he finished second, third, and third in the three races, and then came away as the points leader. It's like, okay, now what?
Okay, future champion.
Yeah. Yes. So we were able to. Orlando Corp helped out to get through the rest of the season, as did the Kiwi Motorsport team. They recognize that in that very deep competition, he was likely going to be their best chance to win a championship, and he did. So that's. However, it doesn't stop there. You just got to continue to bang on doors, and it continues to be a tough road. So
yeah, motorsports is very much. It feels quite like a brutal environment, and I know this is. Yeah, I bet. I know this is something that you're really, really passionate about. So I wanted to ask you about your perspective on Canadian grassroots infrastructure, things like our tracks, funding, obviously, that you've touched on already, coaching, things like that, where we stand in terms of being able to produce elite motorsport talent and provide these opportunities for them.
Yeah. Again, as I said, karting's in pretty good shape. We continue to have, even for car racing, we continue to have great venues. Racing at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and there isn't a driver on the planet who doesn't love racing there because of its high speed, and you need to be brave and have some finesse. And it's long been, if you can be fast there and win there, you can do that anywhere. So we still have that going for us. We've got, you still have access to the Trois-Rivières street circuit. It's an awesome track. I wish we had more access to Mont-Tremblant. Again, a fantastic track. It's in my day, getting access on the IndyCar weekend. It's still a possibility here now that it's managed to find a new home in Markham. But getting on the weekend of the Grand Prix is really tough for some sort of a feeder series, and I think that's one of the things that we need to look at is the big showcase places being able to have a couple of series that can do exactly that. It's not the spec series is best because that's where you're going to learn how to race. Where it's not about the most amount of money. All the cars are the same. The spec racing is where it's at the lower levels. So again, it is complex, but it can be done. But to answer a long way around the barn, answer your question, we've got certainly in Eastern Canada, we still have great tracks, and that every place that I raced, I learned something from every place, everywhere from Shannonville, the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, to the downtown Toronto street race, and even racing on a 3/4 mile oval at one point. You're always going to learn something and be able to take that forward. And obviously the street race in Trois-Rivières is still a going concern and very, very popular. in racing on a street circuit is a very different discipline. Again, great learning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. I mean, from the little bit that I have kind of seen in person of the tracks that we have,
Mhm.
they are absolutely incredible and absolutely challenging, and I think really great environments for drivers to develop.
Yeah, I think, and I left one out. Calabogie. Calabogie
Yes,
is another one, and
yeah.
although it does have some elevation. Again, very unique, but anytime you've got a real mix of corners in terms of corner speed and in radius, add some elevation, which they have at Calabogie, you're going to learn something and being able to apply it. So, and I didn't mean to leave out Calabogie, but for sure it's starting to get more. The last year was the first time they had the Canadian NASCAR series there, and it was awesome. It was it was an awesome event. So
that's incredible.
I think again, that's the variety is a good thing, and if we in Canada, if we still have these tracks and they can meet the standards to be able to host, the something open wheel, something closed wheel, we should be there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. And I guess while we're on the topic of that, and like we've discussed kind of the side of development and Canadian drivers, what would you say has been Canada's most important contribution towards motorsport? And how would you like to see the Canadian motorsport scene grow in the next 5 to 10 years?
Wow. I think
Sorry.
Pushing you through the ringer here.
Yeah, no. We've got the Canadian ASN right now. Elise Rossette is the general manager, and she sits on a couple of committees with the FIA. We've seen over the decades big contributions from people like Rob Seal, Dr. Hugh Scully. Those are related to safety, but Dr. Scully was in the era with Dr. Sid Watkins, and was a big proponent of obviously a racing fan. He was a cardiologist, a heart surgeon, and heavily involved in motorsport safety. And Rob Seal is the next one. He just Rob and his team, safety people are world renowned, travel all over the world, and those are really important contributions, and certainly on that side of it. And yeah, we certainly had a few Canadian drivers deliver along the way as well. So,
including you.
Yeah, it's in terms of the future. I think the sporting authority does not have the money it needs to be able to provide for growth and sustainability. It's something we're going to work at here and try to fix. Right now the sanctioning body is got licensing and rules and regulations. That's all in place to be able to manage that, in working with insurance providers for track permits and track safety, karting as well. However, to become, what needs to happen is we need to have a much better, more clearly defined identity, and also get some corporate support to be able to move it along. Right now, we just don't have anywhere near the capabilities that an association like Motorsport UK has, or even the Motorsport ASN in Australia. They have they've got a lot of corporate support, a lot of members, and that's going to be part of the task of again trying to create growth and sustainability is to get it more unified across the country. Again, we've got it. Part of the problem here is we're such a vast country geographically, and you've got different areas of the country doing their own thing. Just because it's so difficult to, you're not going to leave Thursday and go race in Alberta on Friday. It just doesn't work. So the travel is a problem. So so you end up with each region kind of doing their own thing, and again, we need to try to get it a bit more unified. It's never going to be perfect, but we're looking at ways to try to fix that. Again, easy to say, hard to do, because we've been talking about it for a few years. But the biggest thing is looking at ways to get a much improved identity, and then get out there and market it. So stay tuned.
I was just about to say, how do we get there? How do we do that? But I will stay tuned.
To be determined.
Yes. So there's the goal for the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh my God.
It's a great goal to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really great goal to have.
Or at least, and help with that. My wife Linda has been heavily involved in my career right from the get-go, and she does all the planning administration for the karting stuff, and also does work with the ASN, and as well as our driving experience with Corvette and Cadillac at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and so it is a family affair.
Yeah, so, through and through.
Ooh, nice. Yep.
Through and through. Actually, while we're on the family affair topic, you mentioned earlier that your son is also a racer. And at times, whenever you ask athletes if they would like to see their children participate in the same sport as them, you typically always hear a no. So I guess my question to you is, since your son is in the family business of racing, was this something that was discussed between the two of you when he was growing up? And was there ever any fear on your end, knowing that your son was also aiming for a career in this industry that you're in?
Yes and yes.
Tell us more.
Yeah.
Simple as.
Well, again, I know how difficult it is, and Sam started late, but that was on purpose, trying to discourage him.
Oh, okay.
It was, we promised him, my wife and I talked about, okay, the deal is you can go to university, graduate with honors, and we'll talk about car racing. And
my dad.
I didn't necessarily think he would, but he did. So, so it just got more expensive. We also have two other kids.
Yep.
But no, he's had a passion for it, right from when he was, a toddler. And again, all three of our kids, daughter Lindsay's our oldest, and Sam and Patrick are, they grew up at the racetrack. So that was one of the unique things that we did as a family, and that was the decision that Linda and I made, was that whenever possible we will travel together as a family. And how what kids very often get to go and watch their dad work. So, however, yes, for Sam it was in his early 20s already. Get him into so he did some club racing in a showroom stock Camaro, and then got into the last year of Porsche GT3 Cup Series that was here in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Did that. That was a big jump. He was in the gold class and did okay. And unfortunately, the series ended. I think this was 2017 or 18. Yeah, so it was kind of 1 year and one and done. So we continued to do a little bit of collaboration, look at opportunities, and the series that made the most sense. Sam's 6'5", so he's racing with a car with a roof.
You're a tall group.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm the shortest. I'm the shortest guy.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Patrick's like 6'3" and Sam's 6'5".
Oh my goodness.
The closed wheel was the goal, and then we looked at the Canadian NASCAR series, and obviously I had some great fun in NASCAR road racing in particular, but knew a lot of the people, and so that seemed like the logical step was. It did have, it has some history. It has TV and is at some great venues. So it seemed like the logical next step is from not only from a marketing standpoint, but from a driver development standpoint. And then, he's been able to, he worked with us at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and then got the opportunity a year and a half ago, at least a year and a half ago, with when Porsche was starting up their performance center in Pickering to be their lead instructor. So that's again, being able to work in the business and he's driving high performance cars every day, which is awesome, and that'll continue to help him, and we'll try to. We've got our own little race team in the Canadian NASCAR series. We typically just do the road races, but we will do that again in 2026 and see if Sam can't win one this year. He got got really close last year to Labor Day weekend, but a couple of times actually, but certainly the Labor Day weekend event was painful one. However,
that's always the worst. It's so close.
It's a good series, and speaking with the NASCAR people in Daytona, they're committed. They're committed to making it trying to grow it. It's been here in Canada. Continue to try to grow it. They've got, I guess, 23, 24 years it's been here under their guidance, and certainly COVID didn't help anybody. Certainly some setbacks in terms of getting opportunities to reestablish some forms of sport entertainment, and NASCAR being one of them. Certainly in this country with the Canadian series. So they've got a really good schedule for 2026 and we're looking forward to it. So
I'm excited to keep up with it.
But,
definitely. We'll be keeping an eye on him.
Yes,
he's got you to put the pressure on him, and he's got us to put the pressure on him now.
my wife Linda's the team owner, and I'm just the spotter.
Oh, okay.
I do love that it's a family affair. That's so special and important to have.
Son Patrick works on the team on the weekends.
Wow.
Yeah, at this level, it's you end up getting a lot of part-time people, so they're passionate racing people that are willing to dedicate their weekends to come and help because there's not enough revenue there to have any full-time people, but we've got help from AER Manufacturing, my longtime sponsor from Dallas, and Ontario Motor Sales, a GM dealer in Oshawa. Mobile One's been very helpful. Chris McDougall Energy, been helping us out. So it takes in
Takes a
every
village.
single entry, it takes a village. We're just one of 30 entries, around 30 entries in the NASCAR Canadian NASCAR series, but every team is in the will tell you the same story. So, but it's fun. Yeah, we really enjoy it.
Of course. I mean, I remember the first time that I met you at CTMP for the IMSA race in Bowmanville. Like, you and your family just seemed like you were having a great time being there. You mentioned it takes a village to run a team. It takes a village to lead a sport, but every village does have a leader. And I feel like you're touted as one of North America's most successful and versatile racing drivers. You've won NASCAR series. You've won the 24 Hours of Le Mans. You've won the American Le Mans series. With that, do you ever feel a certain pressure, whether it's from yourself or from your family or from your team members? And is there a certain sort of expectation that comes with being Ron Fellows?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has nothing to do with if there's fame attached to it. I just wanted to race cars, and I loved doing it, and I was fortunate to get paid to do it, and made a nice living doing it. But I do feel, I do feel that a responsibility, as does my wife is the same way. We live here in Canada. We've never left. We continue to live here, and we need to continue to cultivate, develop, and do what we can. And it's not easy, but it's coming slowly. Certainly when you're starting to see, we're starting to see another. It's been a little bit slow, but we're starting to see more companies getting involved corporately in car racing in this country, which is critical. And we've just got to continue to look at ways to cultivate that and do our part to try to help. And that's what we've done. And certainly, the work that we did for 14 years with Canadian Tire Motorsport Park was taking an iconic facility that needed a lot of infrastructure work. I mean, it's a great track. And when we purchased it, it was Carlo Fedeni, myself, and my wife Linda. The goal was to steward that facility and make sure that whoever gets it next, we've left it far better than when we got it. And that was when we purchased the place from Don Panos, the founder of the American Law Series. That was one of the things that Don was keen on. He wasn't necessarily for sale, but I talked to him to see if he was interested in selling. And when he met with us, he felt, this is a good idea. Get this into local Canadian hands, and he left it better than when he got it. And the place is in good hands right now with the ownership group that's taken over from us, and I know that they will do a terrific job, and again stewarding this Canadian icon into the next couple of decades. So that it's part of what I feel a great level of passion for the sport in this country. We for whatever reason, I think you can go back to looking at some of the early development series, the tracks that we get to race on here. Canada has produced a disproportionate number of great racing drivers. And, people ask me, well, what is it? It's the beer.
No way.
But, but I can't tell you what kind. Yeah. No. I think we've typically created series where the driving talent would get to the forefront. It wasn't necessary about who's got the most powerful car. All the cars are relatively the same. You look at again right now, from the 1600 that's been around since the 60s, is still around. You've got Radicals that has become the Radical platform has become popular.
Radical.
And it's hugely popular at Spring Mountain where my Corvette school is. So it's a global category. So again, the Radicals more like an open wheel car with fenders. So again, that can continue to be stewarded and hopefully create growth and opportunities as well, because it's a great formula. Again, it's about having a platform that is all about the best driver should win. It's not always like that, but in the formative development years, that's what it needs to be.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That the spec car categories that they have in the U.S. The Mazda MX-5 Cup. I mean, it's incredible racing. And the cars are the same. At a much higher level, you have the Porsche Carrera Cup. Again, it is a spec car, and generally, it is great racing. So, as a spec series, and that's where, somehow we need to bridge the gap in there financially to create opportunities, and then try to create something that's uniquely Canadian.
Yes.
On a more unified, in a more unified way. Because again, I think that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, I know you said stay tuned regarding that, but do you think we're close to getting something more unified with Canadian racing, or is it still just very in the early days of?
I think it's still early. It's possible to do, and we're going to dedicate more time to try to make that happen, and see if the next couple of years we can't do that. So we've talked about it as a family, and trying to what and how can we contribute beyond helping karting, and that's so we've got to put our heads together and figure out how can we help the sport as a whole. 'Cause as I said, it really needs to be the sporting authority. Ideally, that's where it needs to come from. It hasn't traditionally, at least in this country, but that's really where it needs to be. So, again, we'll see.
Yeah, and the fact that the conversation's being had does help, and it's like at least
you're hearing it here first.
Yeah, we're breaking the news, everybody.
And again, there's certainly no promises at all.
Yeah,
there's some other elements that need to come together in fairly short order here that we're working on. So we'll see.
For sure.
All we can do is try.
That's it. That's all you can do. Just to go back to your time and your history with CTMP, I know we talked about it a little bit, and you mentioned you being part of the ownership team for a big part as well. I just have a question about what you would say surprised you the most about one, operating a track versus competing on one.
Yeah, on a spectator weekend, you're throwing a party for 30 to 50,000 people.
That'll do it.
and you worry about everybody. Miles Brandt, who's a longtime president GM there, I think he would say the same thing. But when it comes, on a big spectator event weekend, when it comes to Sunday night, all everybody's everybody's happy, everybody's safe, everybody's getting home, and that was it was. You certainly look at things very, very differently. Everything from litter to to improved asphalt. It was. We learned a bunch. And Linda would tell you the same thing. But I think again it was important to be able to get some key marketing partners to help with the growth, and that was in the beginning in 2012. Canadian Tire. We talked about where we were going to, what we were going to do with the track in terms of massive improvement of infrastructure, the event center, creating better entranceways, creating better fan access, the karting facility, the driver development track, doing all of that, and they put their faith in us by taking up the naming rights and have been a terrific partner from since 2012. And General Motors the same way. These are companies that two companies in particular that I had relationships with, and they got behind us and have stuck with us, and we'll continue to do so with the new ownership. And
that's amazing.
Michelin's involved. We've got Castrol has been a partner. They pre-existed our ownership, and they're just great partners, and that's what it takes to make it happen. And certainly the other important side of that is the support you get from I'll say the Monday to Friday, the track rental. The track rental is the bread and butter of the facility, and the spectator events are important. They're expensive to put on, but you got to look after all the kart clubs and corporate groups who want to come and run the track. So that we with some of the improvements we made early, particularly with the event center, the Grand Prix circuit's been pretty much sold out from every year since 2012 with from the time the snow melts to the time the snow flies. So it's and again you got to keep it viable, and it's got to be affordable for car groups to do that. So anyway, it's just another side of it that besides selling billboards and event sponsors and you got to look after the car club groups and individuals that want to come out and drive their performance cars on the track. So because the high performance car world has never been better. You look at it right across every, lots of manufacturer brands, Chevrolet and Cadillac being a couple that I'm very, very familiar with, committed to high performance in a big way. So not just with their cars, but their commitment to car racing. So
for sure, I think
a lot to pack in there. Yes.
That's okay. I mean, it's a very unique perspective actually to have, because you've had the best of both worlds. So it is quite awesome to hear your input on it.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly. And I think being somebody so with your pedigree in racing and then also having this experience of running a track and seeing really both the drivers and the fans' perspective is very unique and very important when it comes to developing the Canadian impact, right? And part of, I think, what really emphasizes how much of an impact you've had is things like you're in the Canadian Motorsports Hall of Fame. You have the Order of Canada. Can you talk a bit about what receiving that felt like and what having these kinds of honors for Canadian athletes in motorsports truly means.
Yeah. That would be the Order of Canada was a huge surprise. I had no idea what, and that was, would that have been for 2020?
I believe
2019
so,
or 2020.
Well, I mean, you would know.
I'm not sure yet but I, it was, I can tell you a little bit of the story that I was actually at the Corvette school in Nevada at Spring Mountain. And it was early December of 2019. And my phone rings and it's like 5:30 in the morning and West Coast time. And I look and I see it's a 613 area code. And I thought, oh, we got family in that area in the 613 area code. Maybe it's somebody, a family member that with a 613 phone. Anyway, I answered the phone and the gentleman says he's calling, on behalf of the Governor General and says, you're to be invested in the Order of Canada. And I'm half asleep. And I'm like, okay, who is this really? No, Mr. Fellows, no, Mr. Anyway. So that was really how I found out. And, so that was a massive honor. And it's the first time I think more importantly, it's an acknowledgement, for the sport. This is the first time anybody from motorsport had been invested into the Order of Canada. So what this does is puts yet another spotlight on the sport. And I think that, and then obviously getting to, we got through COVID and then, it was at least a year or so later when we went to the ceremony and got the ceremony done and it was. I mean, it was incredible event and to be in a group with other Order of Canada recipients. It was very, very humbling and it was awesome. So
that's one. The fact that you answered your phone. Whenever I get a call from an unknown number, I definitely don't answer.
It was. I mean, I don't have that many. Don't have a lot of people with 613 area code. So it was coincidental that I picked it up. So I thought maybe it was family. So anyway,
fair enough. Absolutely.
Yeah, but, I'm sure he would have left a message, but
yeah,
I
would hope.
But it was a bit. It was certainly surreal where you're half asleep and it says what the call's about. And calling on behalf of the Governor General.
Say that again.
Yeah, that's what I said. Okay, yeah. Who is this really?
I do think it's absolutely
a huge honor. And again, that's where our family feels some responsibility. Because we live here to try to make contributions, and have we done things perfectly? No. Have we helped make things better? I would think so, but we just got to keep plugging away. So
yeah. And I definitely just want to say that it is absolutely amazing. You should be, I'm sure your family is so extremely proud of you to be inducted into that and to be the first motorsport driver in Canada to be in the Order of Canada. That's absolutely amazing. And
it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like I say, I think the positive is that it gets it will put more of a spotlight on the on the sport and perhaps creating even more legitimacy for car racing being a sport. That's I don't these days there's nobody would doubt that racing drivers are athletes.
Absolutely not.
Oh yeah.
From Formula One all the way through sports cars, NASCAR, you name it. You've got to really work at fitness to be any good. So.
Oh yeah. The amount of debates I've gotten to people who say motorsport is not motorsport drivers aren't athletes. I'm like, you are wrong. And let me tell you why you're wrong.
No, literally, like everything from having...
Bring him up to, let me take him for one lap in a Corvette production car, and they'll learn pretty quick. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's we talk about it where, we just cornered at 1.2 Gs. Well, and they're like, whoa, I can hardly hold on. I say, okay,
my neck would snap.
Imagine that 5 Gs.
Yeah.
In a Formula One car. 3.5 to 4 in sports cars. It's
insane.
It's a lot of load on the body. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're with what you feel through your hands and your butt. You're trying to keep this beast on the ragged edge of between speed and disaster. So,
and it's a very
it's awesome.
thin line.
So we have just a few more questions for you, Ron, before we let you go. I know we've talked, but this has been so amazing. So we just have a few more, and then you will get your evening back.
Of course.
Quite all right.
So going back to a bit of your own experience and your own history, putting aside all of your wins, your podiums, your championships, all of like the statistics, putting that aside, what would you say is the aspects of your driving career that you are most proud of?
Well, I was maybe a couple of things. I was thrilled that I was able to make a living doing it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that there was two drivers in my youth and into my early days of my career that I admired greatly. Jackie Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Sr. Mm-hmm. They were two drivers who had incredible loyalty with the companies that they were involved with and continued after their driving, particularly for Jackie Stewart. Dale Sr. was a Chevy driver his entire career up until his unfortunate death, but he was also, a GM ambassador that whole time. And, for the duration of his career, he was with one manufacturer, essentially one team. And Sir Jackie was he was with Ford and stayed with Ford.
Yeah.
Ford, Goodyear, Elf Petroleum. He worked with them in his driving and then through his post driving career. So, and that would be something that I'm proud about, the fact that when I first signed a contract with Chevy US in the fall of 1994, fast forward 31 years, almost 32. They still have a contract with Chevy US and they still have a contract with GM Canada. So it's
amazing.
That pretty much majority of my kids, that's all they've known as General Motors products. So
they've just grown up in it.
Yes, but it's been, and that loyalty goes both ways. I'm really fortunate to be able to continue to maintain and turn the driving into some certainly certainly the Corvette School in Nevada. We're providing really, really useful tools and training for Corvette owners because the Corvette is right from the Stingray through to the Zera 1X. These are sophisticated sports cars, and being able to come out to the school and spend 2 days learning about the car's capabilities as well as their own. We do feel a responsibility there. My chief instructor, Rick Malone's been there since we started in October of 2008. Wow. But, we feel a responsibility of ensuring that when at the end of the 2 days, you're going to have great fun learning car control and driving on a track. But fundamentally, at the end of the 2 days, having a much better knowledge base and confidence in the capabilities of the car, because that can be a little intimidating. And we want to ensure that people are comfortable, because they're, sports cars and certainly I would be biased with Corvette, but they're awesome cars, and you want people to be able to enjoy them.
Absolutely.
So that aspect is, and being able to continue to do that post driving, and be able to dedicate some time to try to help on this side of the border with programs. So it's again, it comes down to the relationships, whether it's General Motors and again AER Manufacturing, a sponsor for 35 years, and there were a lot of years where he was participating and he didn't have to, but he wanted to. He wanted to be part of it. AER Manufacturing and Bob and Helen McGraw. So that is a source of pride for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the loyalty goes.
I mean,
both
honestly,
ways.
Yeah, like you said.
I think so. Yep.
Exactly.
I mean,
as you mentioned, sorry about that. As you mentioned, like you've had a decades long career, just spanning many different decades. You've had different generations of drivers come up under you, different generations of people who are fans of you. And I think for me, what really sticks out is seeing that you're so passionate about what you do, and that you took this passion of yours, you turned it into a career, and you've succeeded in it. And your hand is it's in so many pots, but you're making it move and you're making it work. So I guess my question to you is, what is next for Ron Fellows?
What is next
for you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we've got 5 grandkids, or 4, and almost, and a 5th coming.
Oh, congratulations.
So we've got, obviously family is important, to be able to spend more time, with family, and particularly grandkids. Our daughter lives in London in the UK, so then her 3 boys are there, so that's makes it a little bit more difficult in terms of travel. But family is important, but also continuing to try to do what we can to try to help the sport on this side of the border. I'll continue as long as I can with the work that I get to do with General Motors on both sides of the border, but particularly on the U.S. side, getting opportunities on occasion to test new production Corvettes, and that's huge fun. And also one of the goals that I'd like to have is to do a little bit more historic racing, and have a bit of fun. You're certainly not as good as you once were, but it's still enjoyable, and I still love doing it. And can I make a living at it now? Not a chance.
You never know. Never say never.
I don't have. I'm not as brave. I do not have the cardio fitness at 68 that I would have had at 38 or 48. And then vision is one of the aspects critical as well. So,
I mean,
but
That's fair.
yeah, there you go. Well, that's
but
what,
Misha and I are gonna car race you. You're definitely gonna beat us.
Oh yeah.
You're
Oh, yeah.
gonna smoke us.
I have years of experience that does count.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Just as
So,
long as the race isn't any longer than 10 or 15 minutes, I'm good.
you can race against
Ron,
a young
I don't even
Rangnick.
have my driver's license.
Okay, I have you beat on
Misha.
that one. Misha, what are we doing here?
No.
I'm pleased you're so passionate about the sport and you do not have a driver's license. That's okay. That's okay.
Okay, I'll drive Misha around.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
You gotta fix that though. You
I
get
know.
that fixed.
I know. I'll do it just so I can do the Corvette driver's experience.
There you go.
I'll get right on that. Okay. Our last question for you is, our podcast is all about learning. We believe that everyone can learn from everyone. And so with your experience, your personal experience, as well as your involvement in things like karting and the Ron Pillows driver's experience and so on, what is one thing that you think that amateur drivers can learn from professionals about motorsports, and one thing that you think professional drivers can learn from amateurs?
I think, well, it comes to if it's applying to amateur drivers and what they can learn from professional drivers, it's really taking. You need to be a sponge in terms of listening to information, listening to how drivers talk about the car's performance, and the vision is critical. Where you're looking is critical. Where you position the car, having nice, soft, quiet hands. The difference between good drivers and great drivers is what you feel here and in your backside, and that's that feel is so important. And again, a lot of that comes from experience, but it's also and I digress a little bit, but there's the ability to be really, really good in car racing is no different than any other sport. There are those that are born with it. It's a God-given gift, and there's no substitute for just absolute the raw talent gift, regardless of what it is. And I think from what we can learn from amateurs. I think what we can learn from amateurs is how their perspective and their experience in how they got where they're at, whether it's just questions on how to go through, how to attack a racetrack with their street car. And or even an amateur racing driver. I think it's understanding and appreciating their journey, their perspective, what they see, what they've learned. I think that's one of the things that a lot of former retired professional racing drivers do is they do feel a sense of wanting to give back something. And there's lots that are doing it all over the world. So, it's not an easy transition. You spend your whole life dreaming and focusing on wanting to be, a hockey player. In my case, I wanted to be a professional racing driver. And when that day ends, that's not an easy transition. We see that in all forms of sport, where that transition from what you had so much passion for, and now you're don't quite have the skills anymore to walk away from. It's very, very difficult. And I've had my struggles with that as well in my past, but it was quickly move on to trying to find other opportunities that were related. And again, with for me, I was quite fortunate to to get the year after I retired from sports car racing, start the Corvette school with Chevrolet and Michelin down in Spring Mountain. So, that transition for me had been very, very fortunate with, but anyway, a long way around the barn. I think there's amateurs need to be a sponge around professionals, and I think professionals need to understand the perspective of amateurs and their journey.
Absolutely. And I think it's that passion that both of them share that's just in a kind of a different way. From the driver's perspective, it's a very analytical one. From the amateur's perspective, it's very from the heart.
Yeah, and I think the again, that's where the at the professional levels where you're paid to do a job, which is go fast, win races, not crash cars, not be slow. And there's the relationship that you have with your engineer and your mechanics. You saw the spotlight on Lewis Hamilton in 2025 and his struggles to some degree. It is that it is so critical that everybody's working together and your engineers understand your what you're looking to get from the car, and driving styles come into it, but it's there is an awful lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that even on a race weekend in between sessions, you're looking at data, working with your engineer, looking at and if you're in sports car racing, you've got one or two teammates that you've also got to share the information with and help each other. So it's a complex, but there's nothing like it. Because when you win as a team, boy, it's special, and it's hard work. It's not easy. But if it was easy, anybody could do it. Wouldn't be anywhere near as rewarding.
That's true.
That's true. That's true.
Absolutely
that's
true.
Why we love it. That's why we love it.
And that's why we support drivers like you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right, Ron. Thank you so much for chatting with us. This has been absolutely wonderful getting to have you on our show. And
thank you.
Please, before we let you go, please let our audience know where they can find you, what you tell us all about the Ron Fellows driver's experience.
Yeah. Well, you can still find me out at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park on occasion, not as often as we once were, but there in the school in Nevada. What else we got? We do have an Instagram account, and I think that's pretty much it. So,
and do you have the name for the Instagram account?
Airport. Where are my kids?
You know what? We'll send you an email
I'm guessing it's
it.
Ron Fellows Official or something like that.
We'll put it in the description
if you search
after.
my name, you'll find it. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me see.
There's some cool videos on there we did with Chevrolet. This time last year, we took an E-Ray on the track at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in the snow. It was
okay.
Oh
yes, it was awesome. Go to There's a really cool. There's a bit of footage and some stills on my Instagram account, but go to Chevrolet Canada YouTube, and they've got some of our exploits in the winter as well as in the summer and the dry. But the A-Ray at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in the snow was. I have never had so much fun. It was amazing. It was amazing.
God.
That
Yep.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So
Also,
there
you
you
were
go.
right. It is Ron Fellows Official. Your Instagram.
You got it.
See, you're good. You got it.
Perfect. Perfect. Ron, thank you again so much for speaking with us, for taking the time just to give us your story and just to answer our questions. We really
you.
do appreciate it. And we'll definitely link all of the contact information for you, your Instagram, Ron Fellows Official, as well as the YouTube link for our audience to view as well. Thank you again, Ron, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.
Of course. This has been the Hold the Past podcast. I've been your host, Fatima.
And I've been your host, Misha.
And if you like this episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to share. You can find us at Hold the Past Podcast on Spotify and wherever else you listen to your podcasts. And then you can also find us at Hold the Past Pod on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you all so much for watching this episode with Ron. He was truly a delight to have, and we'll see you on the next one.